Anymore? Keep going.
Fuck them, suck my fucking dick. Summoning the anger. Okay, I'm good.
You seem to have forgotten that I am a woman.
Yeehaw! And we're in this, dude.
It's happening finally.
Wow. What a saga. What a saga indeed.
Oh yeah, I'm not mad.
It's crazy.
I don't give a fuck. That's why I'm not wearing any fucking clothes. I don't give a fuck anymore.
We've tried a lot.
Everyone can
a lot of times. We do a lot of things together, and recording together sometimes doesn't go this smooth. But for some reason, knock on wood. This has been pretty smooth so far.
Yeah, we had a nice little day. We packed up the Nomad van. We went on a nice little fucking date, happy hour thing, and now we're
Delightful.
Now we're doing this fucking thing, dude. It's happening.
Yeah. I guess I should introduce this podcast. I guess you're right. I can take this off the stand.
Dude, live your life. What's happening?
I'm going to be chilling in this episode because this is the very last episode that we're recording in our Too Much Content East Village spot.
Yes.
All right?
New locations ahead.
This is Haus Haux episode something. I haven't decided when I'm going to put this one out. I'm going to put it out after all the other ones I recorded, because I recorded a bunch together, or if I'm going to put this one out first. But whatever episode this is, welcome back, hosts. This is your hostess, as always, Ani Moush. And today I am joined by, what a delightful guest, the king of the cunts. My partner in so many different ways.
Some might say too many.
Some might say too many. Some might say too much, if you will. It's Irish O'Neill.
What up?
How?
We're here. My boobins.
Welcome.
We're breaking the fourth wall. My boobins.
I know. I was going to say I have a lot of nicknames for you. But
We have a lot of nicknames because early on in this relationship, she put up with how much of a Patrice fan I am and still am. And I would make jokes about, anytime I'm making fun of any of these dumb fucking dudes in terrible relationships, which is most guys I talk to, they all have really obnoxiously stupid nicknames. And Patrice used to always do this thing where he'd be like, fucking buttercup boobins, or pumpkin put, and he would just do the most obnoxious names. And so I just started doing that with this bitch just because I thought it was fucking hilarious.
I think it started with, and this is no shade to any of your friends or previous friends, but the babe couple. Babe, about everything.
Which fucking couple was that?
Someone that you went to a certain convention with was a couple, and they kept calling each other babe, like, obnoxiously.
Oh. Well, no. That was a joke. They were making fun of.
Oh, they were making fun of someone.
Yeah. This, I mean,
that's where it
you
started.
don't even have to hide names. This was so each. You're talking about Dragon Con. I don't give a fuck.
Okay. Well,
Dragon Con. There's usually some retarded thing that we. I don't know if you gotta believe that. There's something every Dragon Con, which is like the theme. Like one year it was like the for some reason it was like the bad lip reading. You know that thing where they do like play.
Yeah.
And it was like of Star Wars, and they did a whole like song, and it was like really fucking catchy. So we just kept quoting that song. That was that one. Another year, it was the thing where it was like I can't remember if it was an SNL skit, and they were making fun of Boston people or something. But it was just like the joke was like doing the obnoxious couple that's like fucking babe. Hey babe, that's pretty sweet, babe.
But that's where it started, because we just obnoxiously started doing that, and then it kind of developed into so many different nicknames. But anyways, welcome to the podcast, dude.
Hell yeah, dude. I'm excited to be here.
I'm actually very happy that this is actually a manifestation of my own making. I did envision that this would actually happen in real time tomorrow in real life. But we're recording it actually on a better day.
Why, to make it fucking stressful?
Yeah, why make it stressful? So the day before we're out of here. I want to be
packed up so ahead of time that I can just spend hours chilling and not give a fuck about anyone or anything.
But I really wanted the last recording in this studio to be with you and I, because for so many reasons, but this is our baby that we built, and we keep building it, dude.
Yeah, dude.
Too much content that it is. And I'm happy to be here. I'm happy we get to hang out a little bit.
I know. Of all the fucking goofy people I could have picked in Boston comedy, I found you, my babe.
I know.
We did it. Here we are.
Never did I think. I mean, honestly, my mom used to always say to me, like, find a partner that makes you laugh. And I guess I took that really literally because I found you via comedy.
It's fair. There was always comedy in my household. My mom's funny. My dad's funny. My stepdad's funny.
Oh, they're all so funny.
I mean, my stepmom's
My
kind
parents are
of funny
funny
in her
too,
own way and shit. But like, there was that, and then my parents showed me Carlin at like really young age. It's somewhere in like the 10 to 12 age for sure. Like it was like it was so early that they were still trying to skip through a couple parts, but then they didn't realize it was like TiVo. So like as soon as they went to bed, I just came back out and watched whatever those parts were, and it was like stuff on like pussy farts and like fucking Dingleberry, just like stuff that was like I was like they didn't need to not show me. I was like they made this seem so much more alluring, like by and tantalizing by trying to hide it, and then. Yeah, it was like George Carlin and Ralphie May were like the first two comics I saw from a young age, and I was just like, and then my group of friends were all, I mean, like you've met like a couple of them. There's like we just like fucking shenanigans and fucking around. That's all our high school was.
I feel like my friends, like all my close friends, are all there. They make me belly laugh, like pee my pants laugh, and like that's just so important in any relationship that I have, like business or personal. That like people have a sense of humor. Because everyone's just, in your words, such a fucking cunt. And, like, takes everything so seriously. I just feel like my whole life I've been the one trying to find the silver lining of humor, and everything.
Dude, I tried with every person I meet to, like, not put my baggage of any other person I've met before that. Like, I try to give everyone, like, an honest shake. But, like, I just feel like, I don't know, man. I just feel like I really now going forward just... I gotta make people fucking work, and it sounds so arrogant, but I don't mean it this way, but it's like, motherfucker, you gotta work for my time and attention now. I just like... Well,
here's the thing, dude. You've chosen a path in life that is not normal.
So
stupid.
Have I. Stupid is the right word.
Sure, stupid could be definitely an adjective to describe it. But, I mean, you started in this industry way before me. And, experienced, I mean, we both in our own right experienced like terrible bosses and people who have taught us some really traumatic fucking lessons. But I think that you've paid your dues, so to speak, for a long time.
I like to think I have, man. Like, after a couple of like producers, like, basically physically assaulting you and screaming in your face, you'd think that like you've done enough bullshit.
Yeah.
One time I helped a owner of a fucking recording studio move his yacht out of the like dock marina and got yelled at, and I was so confused. Like I was like, hey, I'm not a sailor, man. I'm here for audio.
You're like,
I don't know
I'm
what you fucking
an
want
audio
from me,
engineer.
I ripped my pants and like smashed my knee pretty good, and he was like salty I didn't do something, tie a rope down fast enough, and I was like, sorry I didn't go to fucking like
bro,
not tying school in between like doing audio, you fucking clown.
Meanwhile, like the week prior, you're creating like sounds for like crackling growing trees for like 12 hours or something, and just so this has nothing to do with what you want to do with moving a yacht, like, you know what I mean? Like
it's like that, or I'm just working 14-hour days for free for this dude for fucking resume builder
for 30 years, bro. I mean, I've started working well before I legally was supposed to be working. I've just been working my entire life, and this entrepreneurial sense of like, I guess no one can be my boss. I guess I have to be my own boss, and I have to choose who I work with because that's just how I work. That's how, and I feel like you are similar.
Well,
in
it's
a
like,
way.
it's like funny enough, it's like the only people that get the American dream are immigrants. Like,
well, depends.
Well, but like, and what I mean by that is like I find so many like Americans born here are just so fucking dumb and lazy and shit. And like, in my mind, I think I think I believe in this idea of an American dream where it's like, the idea is that you pick something you're good at or you want to do, you work your fucking dick off, you know, you got to eat shit for a couple of years, but you put in the fucking hard work and you persevere, and it's like supposed to pay off and stuff. And I still believe in that idea. And it's just like, you know, the only people I see really like putting in that work anymore, it's like it's pretty much like people I know that are like not, they were raised from a culture that like wasn't from here. It's like I find it, I don't know if irony is the right word, but like it's just funny that like the American dream is really only appreciated by people not from here.
I think it really like it depends too. It depends on how you're raised and what values are like important to you. And like, I mean, I think that's why it's so important. We talked about this a little bit on the Julio episode, where I think it's so important to travel and experience other cultures outside your own and outside of like your own country, no matter where you live.
Yeah, man.
Because if you don't understand how people live and you don't have an open mind, I mean, we were just talking about this the other day. Like, if I go to travel to another country, I feel like it's very important for me to know the basic language, like basic communication language. Because
hi, how are you? Thank you. Yes, please. Where's the bathroom? Blah blah blah.
Because
yeah, just real fucking simple shit.
I respect that,
or at least an effort.
That everybody in that place, that I am a visitor and I am allowed to go there. I have the privilege to go there. I should be as respectful as possible and at least fucking try. You know what I mean? And I've just always been like that from jump. Like, jump, dude. Because I have an immigrant parent that came here and had to learn English by reading the newspaper and magazines because the public school system that he was enrolled in taught him Latin first. Tell me how that fucking makes sense. It doesn't. It doesn't. Yo. It's not like that anymore, hopefully. I don't fucking know. But I mean, but still, like, it leaves an impression on you.
Sure.
You know? And I mean, you weren't born here. So, I mean, you have a perspective. You're like, are well-traveled.
Germany,
you know?
What up, Germany? Let's go.
I mean, you have a perspective on just, like, other cultures.
I've lived all over. I mean, a lot of it's just because my dad was in the fucking military and shit. But, yeah, I was born in Germany. And then we came back to, like, Alabama, which is where, like, my mom's family was. And then we went to stay with my dad in Egypt for a while. And then, like, after that, I think we came back to Alabama, then Colorado, and then Connecticut, Massachusetts, New York, like,
I mean,
Jersey. Fucking, you know.
I think at least in the majority of those cultures that you mentioned.
That's just where I've lived.
Sure. But I guess in a lot of those cultures, I think, like, humility and, like, showing your work rather than talking about your work is sort of, like, how you go about life. And that's also how I was raised. And I feel like that's a comment that we often receive, like, you and I together, like, as a team, where, you know, oh, we're so nice. We've definitely seen some shit, which is 100% true. But also that, like, you know, we don't talk about necessarily, like, the people that we've worked with, you know, unless it's really necessary, because it's my work, you know. I'm proud of it, but I don't need to boast about it.
Yeah, I really don't, dude. You could look my resume up online if you need to, like.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think now is people want to know that because there's just, like, there's too much content out there, if you will.
Well, it's just like I never want to be fucking, like, boastful and, like, you know, ramming it in people's faces. Like, look what I've done.
I think,
blah,
like,
blah, blah, blah.
Part of the irony of us naming our business Too Much Content is that we don't necessarily, like, post every day. I mean, we have, like, a lot that we could, but we, like, part of it is
posting everyone else's shit, man.
Yeah, I mean, that, and, like, there's just... I think we believe in quality. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I don't post fluff, you know? And I think that's just something that I want people to pay attention to, in a way.
It's such a problem for me because, like, I really don't give a fuck about social media. Like, I really... Like, for the longest time, I'm so stupid because it's, like, for the longest time, the only reason I had social media is, you know, one of the main reasons still is obviously there's probably, like, you know, a lot of sluts out there still. But no, there's probably like 10 or 15 friends that I really only like would have their information through like an Instagram or a Facebook. Like they don't, maybe they're out of the country or just something that's like I wouldn't really get to interact with them otherwise. Could I live without that? Let me think. Based on the people that are in my close, tight circle, yes. I have everyone that I need to like feel good or exist.
You had
and
to
like
get a
have friends.
WhatsApp, you could.
Sure, but
Whatever.
yeah, exactly. So it's like I don't even need that, but it's like for the longest time I needed that shit for my band. And then it's like, the band kind of like took a back seat because it's like, just a lot of, honestly, it was just a lot of the members moved. Like they were, three of the other three guys were all Berkeley guys. And like, once they got their stuff done, like, my guitar player went back to Finland and my drummer's like living in Florida and my bass player did move out to New York and now he's back in Boston. So like, that's cool. We can do some stuff. And we're still working on some shit.
We are going to be like in a treehouse in Costa Rica for a few months, but.
Yeah, exactly. But
eventually when we get back.
Eric goes back and forth to Costa Rica even because he's in Florida. So it's like, him and I have
Right.
already been talking and shit. But
yeah,
it's just like, that took a back seat. So then we were doing like the podcast shit and like, the podcast we're all doing well. And you're like, you got to have a fucking social media presence for that. And it's like, I never really want to like pay some other person to do my social media like that.
I hate being like forced, like, I never force anyone to do anything, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's your project. I hate being like told that I have to do something in order to succeed because I just think that there's so many other ways around it. Like I could do whatever I want if I really put my mind to it. I know I'm good. I could be good at social media. I have been in the past when it wasn't relying on my work.
But you also have to have to be happy with the way you got there.
Yeah.
Like I never want to get to the top or it's almost like some Patrice shit where it's like I'd rather be great than famous kind of thing. Like I don't want to get to the top having to sacrifice anything of myself or I'll be such a fucking nerd. I've been watching so much One Piece, but it was like there's an episode earlier.
Much anime.
I know, dude. I love fucking anime, low-key. But like there was an episode where these two like warriors were like these giants that were fighting and they had like 70,000 battles over like 100 years and like they kept drawing and drawing. And it's like, they had so much integrity and like it ended up like someone fucking like cheated and like fucked it up. And like the one dude just felt so like dishonorable about the fact that he won because a third party influenced the battle. And it's like, I never want to be that guy. I never want to like get ahead because I like fuck someone over that didn't deserve it. But like, I don't even want to necessarily have to be like, I fucking hate people putting me in a place where I feel like I have to be fucking vengeful and shit like that. Cause like, make no mistake, I don't know if any of you guys have seen that Northman movie, but dude, when I watched that movie, I turned to her and I was like, we were in the theaters. I'm like, this is me, dude. Like when someone puts me on a vengeance quest, like that's me, dude. It's like all I fucking think about. Like, not like it eats up my day, but like when any moment that in the day where like, you just hear a whisper of like vengeance. It's like then it just fucking turns on like a burner, and it's just like, dude, I like, ugh.
I think it's more of like in anything that you do, you really put your all into it.
I have fucking warrior blood, dude.
And
I have warrior blood. My
fucking do, bro.
Dude, my fucking
bro.
My great uncle was a World War I vet. My great grandfather World War II. My dad's a vet. They were all fucking. My whole lineage just fucking warriors, dude. I'm a pussy and didn't go into the military. However, I just don't necessarily believe in like any one. There's just not a cause that calls to me enough, man. I'm sorry. Maybe freedom should be enough, and that makes me a fucking bad American and shit. And I'm sorry for that, but like, there's nothing I'm like ready to die for yet. Now, some motherfuckers land in our country, or there's some like fucking like alien force, or just like, hey guys, this is it. We gotta fight Russia. And like it's fucking all or nothing. Like fine.
What is going on?
Hand me a rifle. I'll fucking go do it, guys. But fucking
we
otherwise,
are so far away.
Otherwise, guys, I'm a pussy. I'm the pussy of the O'Neill family.
That's how you really feel.
Hell yeah. Hey, I told you this is the no bullshit. But that's like, I'm the pussy of the O'Neill family.
Yeah. Well, anyways, be afraid. Be very afraid. Anyways, but. I think it's...
I blame you. You started doing the national anthem.
I think it's more that you feel like you put in effort, and sometimes it's your power isn't recognized, bro. And I feel similarly. And I think that's the artist struggle.
It's like I'm not doing it to get recognized, but I do feel like at like
it's just like at what point will I be satiated?
At a certain point,
you know?
it becomes a thing. It's like not to sound like a quitter, like, you know, when do I give up? But it's just kind of like, hey man, I'm putting in the fucking bullshit and checking the boxes. It's like,
right.
It's like, what's not connecting here?
That's why, like, I think, I mean, a huge lesson.
And not to say things don't connect necessarily, but it's just sometimes, you know, you feel like you're beating the head against like certain things and you're like, why is this not fucking plugging in?
That's why a huge lesson in like the last couple years that I've like really solidified and learned that is like everything that you do really does have to be set forth with intention. And like it sounds funny, but like that started with like when I did shrooms for the first time, and like you know, it really forces you to think in like you have a limited time on this earth. So if you're doing something that isn't working, or if you're doing something that you're good at but it isn't making you happy, like what is the fucking point? So like everything that you do, even in your relaxation, my intention is to relax. If something comes out of that, fucking fantastic. But like everything has to have that. And I mean, when we set forth to New York, we had certain goals that like, and I mean, God knows New York changes every minute. I mean, those goals just like continued. We set them so quickly and they developed so much.
Dude,
like
it's a fucking Wild West out here.
I mean, it's wild. I didn't it sounds cocky, like whatever. We got farther than I really expected. Yeah. In a good way. And like that just solidified that I can do anything, and that like my skills are translatable. And everything that I have been doing up until this point shows me that I can like be a part of something, a bigger thing, and it be meaningful, and like I can also get paid for it if I want that, you know?
Yeah.
And it's cool because I never thought that I could be paid for my own art, and like New York also taught me that. I mean, like when we moved, it was the height of COVID. I've said this so many times on this podcast, but it was the height of COVID, and like I'll be so honest. This is obvious, I'm sure, to a lot of close people in my life, but it was a jump. But like at that point, I'm like, what do I have to lose? I might as well like take this journey on like any student or student of life. Like if I have nothing else fucking that's happening for me right now that I'm really enjoying, and like I might as well learn something and make it my own thing. And that's what I really wanted. And I feel like I was very successful in that. I feel like you were too. And like we kept setting intentions, setting goals, and it's just like, oh, okay, I need to dream bigger then, I guess I'm just like afraid of my own self sometimes.
Yeah, like that's the thing. I don't I don't ever think like for me that it's like a fear thing, but I agree with you where it's like I keep hitting these goals like way easier than I think that I can, and then I'm like you do sort of like start questioning yourself where like am I just like you're like, am I Rocky in Rocky 3 where you're like he's like the beginning's like a montage of him just beating the fuck out of guys, but then he realizes like his coach was just setting him up with like fluffer fights and shit, and then he fights like Clubber Lang and he gets his ass rocked and shit, and it's like, but I don't think so, man. Like I think we set like pretty like big goals and they just keep fucking like we keep hitting them.
Yeah, I mean, I think that we both like a creative challenge, and we've taken a lot of those, and I think like we've learned from a lot of those, because not all, I mean, to be frank, like not everyone's a banger, right? Like we've said that from day one, like about anything, like not every joke's a banger, not every podcast is a banger. I mean, it's
not every song on an album,
and it shouldn't be.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be, because the difference is you should be able to see the fucking great ones, extraordinary ones, from the fucking basic ones. And like you and I are very much like, I would rather put my time and energy into something extraordinary or to myself or my, you know, people think things that make me happy.
Well, you're really nailing like what a producer is, and it's like it's a frustrating thing. I learned that from my mentor and stuff. It's like he has people refer to him as like a producer or a director and stuff. It's because just like people people don't really understand the fucking terms. Like, everyone throws around the term producer. Producer is like, there's almost like a joke about it now that it's like producer is just a name for something when you like don't really have a title. And it's like, dude, what a producer to me originated from like record companies and record labels. They'd have a fucking this band A. Let's say it's the Beatles. Okay, the Beatles are recording at fucking what is it, Abbey Road or whatever the fucking studio is. I'm being a bad audio engineer right now. And they recorded with if I'm not being a crackhead, George Massenburg. And it's like the melding of them and George Massenburg influenced the music, but not in a way that is like self-serving and like, look at me, I'm fucking George Massenburg. It's like his job as the goddamn producer is you like almost shouldn't even be aware that he's there. He's like a fucking phantom. However, he fucking enhanced that goddamn music at least, I don't know, 40%. Like, dude, they came up with with so many recording techniques that changed recording for like the rest of time and stuff, just through different like weird shit that they would try and do, and fucking weird multi-tracking things and weird effects and stuff that they developed. And it's like, you know, a producer has a fucking eye.
Sharon Studios.
There's all these famous fucking producers and stuff. The guy from fucking that did a bunch of Nirvana stuff. I can't remember his name either because I'm a fucking dumb shit. But he like held a person at gunpoint one time or something like that. Like, he's a crazy motherfucker, but he just fucking makes good goddamn albums. Like, I think he did something with like Uncle Ben's music and stuff like that. But like, you know what I mean? It's like the people fucking throw around producer, and it's like I keep running this fucking frustrating thing, I feel like, with like the podcasting stuff, where it's like people just don't understand a distinction between like an engineer, which is a guy who's just gonna, in my opinion, like he understands everything, but his job is fucking press the buttons, make sure it's recording. Like, there's not really, in my opinion, when it comes to podcasting, at least, an engineer's much creative aspect. And then there's producer, which like has an influence and stuff on that. And it's like people almost like really sometimes want like the engineer as kind of like a puppetry of like, I don't have the skills to do it, but let me kind of like.
A fun example between the two is like, and this might be a little bit inside baseball, but if you've watched Private Parts, the sort of like the person that's falling asleep pushing buttons is what I think people envision like what a podcast producer is, and that's just absolutely not what it is at all. You have to be paying attention the entire time. I mean, we have so many wonderful examples, but I mean, Becky Rodriguez we talk about all the time, Mike Coscarelli, I mean, just the list goes on and on of people who we just like admire and respect, of who've really brought their own like flavor on the show that they've produced. And
Johnny, Pat,
oh my God, have done such a great job just supporting the artist. Like, your art is making the artist's art, you know what I mean? And it's rewarding in its own way. But like, if you are an artist in your own right, I've learned that you have to have your own projects like this one, where you have your own outlet, because you can't just have one thing. Like, our artist's brain is just like, it needs to be spread out and like satiated in different ways. You know, you have to have a little bit of a social aspect, but like any artist has to be a little bit introverted and do their own thing too. Yeah. You know?
I feel that.
This is like our 2-year anniversary in New York.
This is true.
This is crazy.
2 years of violence and bloodshed.
How do you really feel about it?
I mean, I feel good. You know, we made a lot of good connections. I did learn a lot, both about like what we came here to do and like people in general on like a psychological level, and like
what?
I mean, man, I would say it's pretty disappointing to me how like, you know, whenever you see like a Hollywood depiction of Hollywood, so to speak, like, you know, like if you watch like even like a show like I don't know why this came to me as an example, but like Entourage, when you see like when they're showing like some of the like shady bullshit that happens behind the scenes, and you see it on like a show like that, and you're like laughing at home, and you're like, oh my God, that's so crazy and outlandish, and it seems like it's almost like
Jersey Shore.
It feels almost like a tongue in cheek to Hollywood, but then like seeing how the sausage made, and you're like, oh no, that's legit. Like, just people like, I don't know. I put like a really strong value in like loyalty, and like I just feel like, man, people in I don't know if it's people in New York or just people in this industry specifically, probably the latter, but just fucking really like let me down on that fucking aspect of life.
Yeah, I think it's funny. It's ironic that we were just talking about intention. And, you know, I think you and I go into a lot of situations genuinely. You know, we like to believe in people. I think we have a very high threshold for what's quality, and what's actually good and funny, if I do say so myself. Sure. But I think that that's important, you know, like, I talk about this all the time, but in design school, you are publicly shamed. Like, you're publicly shamed. You have to present your project over and over and over again. And like, people critique you in front of your peers, in front of people who are important in your field, and it's like, it better be good. So I mean, I've just always had that ingrained in me even beforehand.
Can I be honest? Those moments have always changed my life. When it's been like, especially when it's been something where it's like administered from someone who's usually, it's like a fun like tee-hee kind of like interaction with them, or like just, you know, that's very lighthearted.
Compliment sandwich.
No, not even comment sandwich, but there's like then one rogue instance where they just fucking hit you with some shit, and because you're not expecting it from that person, and you're like, fuck, man, you fucked me. Like I told you that story the other day about like guitar camp, where it's like I had to do that like mock Berkeley audition, and I just like was not taking it serious already, and it just fucking broke me after, man. I was just like, oh, because it was from two teachers that like I'd taken lessons from for like 4 years, like 4 summers previous to that, and it's always been like fun, like tee-hee and stuff, and just today was like, we're gonna be like fucking like straight up like we're Berkeley instructors trying to like weed through people, and it was just like, man, they gave like very harsh critiques of like, and they just gave you a dose of reality, and it was like, oof, man, that fucking hurt.
Yeah. I mean, but those moments are always very good.
That's what I'm saying. I appreciate them more, though, because it's like, I know that person's intention is good.
Yeah, they elevate you in a way. And even the people who are shitty, like, who, you know, I've had coaches, I've had bosses who just genuinely awful people. Like, to their core, are jaded, and they don't give a fuck about you or about anything. They just want to get through, and like, they take it out on you because you have a lightness to you, you know? And like, it over time, like I used to get really mad about those people, and what they were like trying to do to me, and like, I didn't do anything to deserve that or whatever. But it's like never about you, you know, it's never about your work. It's like they just see you as like tougher than them, and that they can fuck with you or like try to fuck with you, and it's not going to break you because you're not openly letting it, you know what I mean? And those moments have like shaped me in such a way too, you know what I mean?
Dude, man, I'm really just trying to have like such a nice time with everyone, and it's just like I keep not understanding why people keep trying to fuck with me, and it's like, make no mistake, like I do plenty of reflection on it. Like, you know, I always go back to this one quote from my middle school band teacher where like, this one kid next to me was like fucking up this one part over and over in the tenor sax group, and he just stopped the band, and he was like, it was like 2 or 3 times in a row he kept like doing the same thing, and the teacher, Mr. Hilvey, was just like, this kid, James, he was like, James, he's like, you know, in life you're gonna be facing a lot of moments like this where you're like, you're doing something one way and the whole group's doing it another way. And he's like, I don't want to stifle you and make you think that you can't go against the grain and shit, but it's just like, hey, man, if everyone's doing it this one way and you're doing it fucking batshit crazy another way, there's a good chance maybe everyone else in the band isn't wrong and you're the one that's wrong. Play the fucking part right. You know what I mean? So I always go back to that, where it's like when I run into these situations where I fucking butt heads with people or fucking get into it, because like I said, I'm really just I try to be fucking Rambo, man. I try to be like
So are you saying that you try to think first, like, am I playing
I always
wrong?
go back to it. I always go back to, like, after a couple instances of, like, me butting heads with people, I'm like, is it me? Like, I do, like, have the moment where I'm going, like, well, I'm the only fucking constant in this, so, like, obviously I must have some part in this. But, man, I just, like, I always feel like, bottom line, my motto is to be Rambo about shit, where it's like, I don't draw first blood.
Yeah.
Like, I know that sounds goofy, but I'm like, I'm dead. It's like, but once someone fucking cuts me, bruh, I don't do eye for an eye. I do eye for, like, an arm and a leg.
I mean,
that's my thing, man.
Here's the thing. Like, my friends have always said that I'm way too patient. You know, I give people, like, a lot of chances.
Yeah, you really do, man.
And I do. And, like, you know.
Do you want another beer also?
I don't know if we have it. No, I have plenty here. But
I'm listening. You give a lot of chances, people, for sure.
You have. No, I'll wait till you come back. It's an intermission. The craziest thing is that he is wearing a bucket hat and underwear, and that's it for the audio listeners.
You're ruining the illusion. I'm supposed to be naked. Technically, I ruined the illusion by hitting my.
Yeah, we were talking about that earlier. I hope that made the cut.
Hitting my big fucking piece on the tip. That wasn't my leg. That was my peen. Anyways, you were saying.
Hit his peen on the way back in. But anyways, yeah, I don't remember what I was saying, but that I'm way too patient with people.
Yes, you were way too patient with people.
I like to teach. I'm very nurturing. I think that I just my thing is I like to understand people, and that takes a long time. And I think I have a lot of patience, and I think my fault is that people then think they can take advantage of that patience, or they then become intimidated because they don't either want to let me down, or they don't want to, like, poo-poo or whatever, make me mad, or whatever the case may be. Mm-hmm. And I think it's the exact opposite of you. It's like you might, like, if someone just comes to you and, like, talks to you, I've never seen you be like,
people are
what
so,
the fuck?
Dude.
It's when people prolong things, and I find that people do that a lot with me too.
It's not even the prolong thing, dude. It's like, even if you're fucking wiener dink and you take fucking 6 months because you're a coward to come up and talk to me, I'm not gonna be a cunt if you come up on some, like, hey man, can we talk? Like, I've been fucking blah 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 blah, and you want to fucking give your piece. Like, I'm not a cunt, dude.
The problem is, I think
it's when people fucking do that 6 month shit or more, and then come up to me and try and act like, hey, and want to give me a hug and shit, and it's like, dude, you were an asshole.
I think the problem it's a problem for us, I guess, and maybe some other people, but in this industry, you know, people are narcissists. People are only thinking about themselves. Sure. And you know what? To be successful in a way, you do have to fucking only focus on you. And you do have to, like, grind and grind and grind on yourself, your own projects, and not look at the fucking limelight of shit that's coming towards you to really be successful. And you have to be consistent about it. So I get that someone who's on a hamster wheel of that isn't thinking about fucking me and how they made me feel 6 months ago. But I do expect you to be a human and, like, at least acknowledge, like, oh, we haven't talked in, like, X amount of months. You know, like,
just like,
hey, man, like, I hope everything's going well. Like, blah, blah, blah. Like, people just come up on you, like, as if nothing happened. And you're like, dude, the last time that we talked.
I can't be fake. Maybe you can. I can't.
You literally took food from my mouth. And, like, you want me to be just, like, genuinely normal. And I just don't understand. Like, if someone did that to you, you wouldn't be that way. And, like, I'm just
or maybe they can, but I can't, dude. Like, dude, if you fuck me.
It's just
if you fuck me, dude, crazy. Like, I will get my fucking revenge. Like, it will happen. Like, I won't sleep. I won't, like, give it up until I've got my revenge. And hey, maybe, you know, maybe that's unhealthy.
Like,
people always say, like, if you do fucking think about revenge, dig 2 graves. Fine, I'll dig 40. I don't give a fuck.
But I think, like, it goes back to just, like, the karma thing that we were talking about.
Sure, usually that, like, karma helps me out, but if it doesn't,
I think in every instance that at least, like, I've seen in like the time that we've spent together, like, when you say revenge, like, honestly, karma just takes care of it.
Well, dude, that's because the fucking gods are on my side. They really are,
and
man.
it's fine. And it's like, it's
They
not
really
even
are.
something to quote unquote take care of. It's just like, you know, you put
Fucking,
your heart
I
and soul
honor
in
the
shit.
gods with fucking majesty and being, you know, respectful and doing things with honor and shit like that. And that gets rewarded through the universe.
What was your intention with coming to New York?
My intention with coming to New York, truthfully, we were crushing it with podcasting in Boston. I felt like I started to get bored because there was really nothing going on there. And then even COVID hit. And then also like, you know, even like, you know, I had my fun even trolling with like on John and stuff and doing the whole midlife. I was like, I got bored with how easy it was to fuck with people and stuff. And then like, you know, I was a fan of like the whole Gas Digital shit and Legion of Skanks for a long time and stuff. And that opportunity came up. And to me, I was like, well, okay, that's like, they have like a space in a studio that's like, you know, on paper, at least like, you know, more professional and stuff like that and cool. And like, they work with some cool, you know, no cap, they work with some cool people and shit like that here and there. So I'm like, okay, we can go there and check that scene out. And it was like, you know, I felt like it took like kind of like way longer than it, like when they hired me for that. Okay. It was with the understanding that like I was going to be like a personality in terms of like, you know, it's one of the producers that's speaking a lot. And like, they were like, we want you on to do like that kind of stuff. In addition to like, we understand, you know how to do this shit. And I just felt like
because we had the business already.
That's a very important distinction. I already had like several of them, including like, you know, the main hosts and owners of that stuff on my podcast. They all knew I already did this shit. They knew I was already an audio engineer, like all of this shit, blah, 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 blah. I've been doing it like 10 years at this point of audio engineering. And so it was like, okay, cool, moved there. And like, I worked on a lot of cool shows and stuff here and there. Like, you know, I liked working on Kurt Metzger's show and like, Stoke the Fire was cool to work on. There was a lot of cool stuff that I worked on there. And, but like, I just never really got like a chance to do what was like, I want to say promised, but like, you know, like, yeah, I can assemble fucking shows and like put them together and do post-production and shit like that. But like, man, the extent of doing like post-production for me is like, you know, creative and fun stuff. And not like, to me, like with podcasting, post-production is like assembly line shit, which is why like with our Too Much Content stuff, I always try to create like this live environment of like, while we're not streaming it live.
And we have like the extra, like accoutrements, you know what I mean? That make it like feel like a full experience.
Well, it's like I want it to, it makes it easier for everyone, and not easy in like a lazy way, but it's just like if the product is fucking 90% done when I stop recording, like, dude, we can spend that energy on so many other cool shit. And so like, that's what I always strive to do.
That's why we don't edit.
So we try not to edit unless someone's like name gets dropped that really shouldn't be, or like an address or stuff like that. And just, I don't know, man.
I just try to like, whatever project I'm working on, I don't want to be a fucking hamster on a wheel. I want to be a creative director, you know, a fucking...
It just wasn't doing it, man.
Yeah.
That's it. It just wasn't doing... Like, our stuff was fucking, to be frank, was just popping just as much. I mean,
we
like...
brought a lot of ideas that just...
Some people might use the word competition. I wouldn't have used that word, but some other people did. And then it was like, clear, like, cool, we can do this thing ourselves. And so we did.
Yeah. I mean, at our...
Which we're already doing.
Yeah.
And we're doing through that time, and we just were like, okay, well, like, I don't need to be beating my head against the wall doing this other shit that's, like, frankly, just kind of beneath me in terms of, like, it's just a bunch of fucking goofy grunt work and shit, and, like...
Well, I mean, in the end, what, like, ended up happening, I guess. But, yeah, sure. I mean... Hold on, where...
So I mean, like, after that point, like, I don't know, the intention was just, like, let's podcast and work with some cool motherfuckers here in New York, and like, you know, we did, but that had its challenges here and there and shit. And
but now we've been given the opportunity to go to this treehouse in Costa Rica.
Yeah.
And fucking podcast from there and like do some art and shit. And, you know, we're gonna do it.
Dude, we're achieving true pirate radio.
Yeah.
Locationless podcasting.
Yeah. Well, two things, and then we'll wrap this up. But as you know, a couple themes of this podcast are accountability, a little bit adversity. We've talked about a little splash of each one in this episode so far.
Sure.
You would consider yourself an artist, I think.
For sure.
What's your medium?
I think that my true medium is... It's definitely music. It's tough to when I really try to dial in on what specific instrument, right? Because it's like I get my fill from like lyric writing. I like singing a lot. I really fucking dig playing guitar and singing. That's what I did in my band a lot. And then like I also like giggle my tits off when I like lock myself in a room for 8 hours and just program like orchestrations to sound like this fucking obnoxiously big orchestra playing these like movie orchestral things. So it's like it's some kind of like weird menagerie of that, but it's definitely like it's for sure music, because it's like the same way like you'll start a painting and then you just get locked in for like 6 hours. Like, dude, I've done that with like I'll start and I'll fuck around with like one little like goofy violin part that I think of that's kind of epic sounding, and then I'll just build like a 75 piece orchestra around it of like shit for like 8 hours, and it's just so like I'm cackling laughing with each layer I add.
That's why I think every artist just a tiny little bit relates to like that evil genius.
I'm fucking insane, dude.
Because can you like
you live with me. I'm fucking insane.
I mean, God, you live with me. But like every artist that I know, that I admire, that I'm friends with and know personally, when they are in their zone and they're doing their art and they're in their flow state, they are cackling their tits off because they are the genius in that moment. And I love that about art and how that brings that out of people.
Like, you know when I know that like a thing is hitting?
When I'm giggling my tits off. That's when I know my shit is good.
Like for sure when I'm giggling my tits off, but like when I said like when I'm working on like it's so specific, it's so funny. Like when it's like it could be a guitar part, but it's usually when I'm orchestrating, right? And when I play something, the feeling will be as if I am a live orchestrate like conductor. But specifically like the Pirates of the Caribbean theme, like the fucking when it's really like slamming, it's like brum 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 brum, and you're like, dude, this is fucking slapping, motherfucker.
Yeah, dude.
And I'm like, I don't know why that song, but like that song, first of all, shout out Howard Shore. I don't think I'm crazy.
Maybe.
I think it's Howard Shore. Fucking shout out. But dude, like, it's just when it slaps, dude.
When it slaps, it slaps. Yeah, I often feel that way about my art, especially when it's like an emotional piece.
Yeah, dude.
It
makes you want to yell, "God damn it, motherfucker! I'm the baddest bitch on this planet."
Yeah.
I've watched my mentor do that. He's played me a mix, and then he'll pause it halfway through, and he's stand up, and he's like, "I'm the baddest motherfucker on this planet."
It makes you feel like you're the first person that thought of that thing.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Which like, we're fucking crazy. The two of us living together. It's ridiculous.
I don't know if we could ever have a kid. We'd make a serial killer.
God, I don't even know. The narcissism just runs so deep. But anyways, I mean, just that like in every single thing collectively that we've done together.
Yep.
And honestly, 3 years. It's not a long time. But like in 3 years, we've seen all of a sudden replicated like over and over and over again. And just the lack of originality in some people is unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, I can tell all of you motherfuckers that the next studio for sure is not going to have green anymore, because fucking
everybody. I mean, you're welcome for the inspo. I know that I'm real good at it.
Maybe one other podcast was doing this shit, but like everybody got green background now, so like suck my dick.
Yeah, I mean, it's fine. I actually really appreciate it. I like that people like are trying to replicate our studio, because that means that they like it, and that's really flattering. I like that, but that just means that it's time for me to step it up a notch, because this has been the scene for actually quite a bit of time.
Yeah. And by the way, I should clarify, like, I feel like in retrospect, maybe I sounded like kind of a bit jaded through this episode, and like it shouldn't be taken that way.
No,
I'm not jaded.
Just the last one in the studio.
Well, it's not even that. Like, I'm not jaded. I just like, I don't know. I don't want to be like I expect better from people, but it's just like, man, you expect people to just be human. I don't know. You expect people to be human.
You want people to be human.
And you get frustrated because like I really never I know I talked about it earlier, like, I'm going to make people have to, like, work for my time kind of thing, but it's just, like, you want to give each person, like, a fair shake. You don't ever want to bring your baggage in and, like, just because the last 15 people all let me down, this new person who I'm interacting with, like, I shouldn't be like, well, fuck you, you got to suffer because these people are pieces of shit. But, like,
no.
It's I think you got to continue to have, like, I don't know, I think you just have to continue to have hope in people, because, like, you do, like, for every, like, 25 shitty people you run into, you do meet, like, a nice person. And even if that nice person's only good for a couple of months, you'll probably meet someone through them that will, like, at least be solid. I've had that happen a lot in life, where it's like, I'll meet a person and we'll be, like, good buddies for a couple months, and then, like, I don't know to be arrogant, but their bullshit fucking creeps up, and then it fucks it all up. But in that time, they'll have introduced me to, like, one person, and, like, that person's a solid ass motherfucker. I have a lot of good friends like that, or just people we've met out here like that, where we had like a person that we, like, worked with or met, and it, like, didn't work out, but, like, someone they showed us, like, ended up being, like, really fucking cool.
Yeah, a lot of people like that. I mean, you know me, I'm a data nerd. I love to learn. I love to, just quantify and qualify and do all of the things, and really just see, what's worth it. And in all of this, I've just been studying all that we've been doing, and just, like, all of the shows and things that we pay attention to. And we've met some incredible people through this experience. Like, this sounds like we're done. We're not done. But, like, I mean, like, this studio,
this chapter is
this
done.
Like this space particularly.
We're elevating to the next phase of what too much content is.
Yeah, and it's cool that it happened on this timeline. Like,
you guys will find out about stuff as you find out. Yeah. But, like, we have several phases to this concept that is too much content. Yeah. And, like, there is an end goal for this.
And it's been happening so much faster.
Yeah, I mean,
slow down.
Yeah, stuff happens pretty fast. I mean, ultimately, we have, like, what I would roughly say is, like, a 10-year goal for what this thing will end up being. And, like, that's all I'm really going to say on it, because, like, there's a lot, like, that we have behind the scenes working and several people we're working with. But, like, hey, man.
I'm proud of us,
Shit's going to pop off. And everyone that didn't believe in us can suck my whole fucking
wang.
wang.
God, do you remember, like, oh my God, I hope they're fucking listening right now. Do you remember back in the day before we moved, when people found out that we were dating, and then, like, in the Boston comedy, like, fucking Facebook group, people were talking about, like, my pussy.
No, that person that you're talking about is actually dead.
Shut up.
They died.
No,
they're old. They're old. They're so old. That argument happened 3 years ago, and I told them, like, they were so old that even if Comedy Central called tomorrow, like, it's a wrap. They're going to be in a grave in 5 years.
But anyways, just, like, to see how far. Actually, and another person that said that I shouldn't get wrapped up with you and charismatic because it wouldn't turn out good for me.
Wait, which one was that?
Oh well, I'll tell you after this podcast.
Oh, okay.
But
I know you've said the story before. I just can't remember which dummy it is.
Yeah, it's fine. I hope he's listening too.
Dummy after dummy.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's what I was saying.
But anyways, I guess accountability is, like, the last thing that we'll talk about. What do you think through this whole experience you've learned about what other people need to do to really hold accountable to themselves and their projects and people around them? Wrap it up in, like, 3 words.
In 3 words?
Yeah. What do they need to do, like, actively? Like, what's the common theme?
Find their path.
How? How do people find their path?
I mean, like, with what we've interacted with, which is a lot of people that are trying to do podcasts and stuff, more often than not, it ends up being a bunch of people talking at a microphone, hanging out. And, like, everyone wants to do the fucking hangout podcast. And, like,
if I may, I think I know what you're trying to say. It's that maybe people don't have intention in what they're doing.
Yeah, that's fair to say. Like, yeah, you put it like that earlier. It's just like there's not really an intention to what they're doing. So it's like, and I'm guilty of that at times too. But it's just like you have to, if you want to be great and if you want to excel and you want your shit to go to the next level, you have to hold yourself accountable. And, like, part of the way that you do that is, I remember I had this teacher, Klaus Nystrom. He was, like, a composer and stuff like that. At BU, and he always said, his thing when he's like, when you get out there and you're working professionally, he was like, always perform one tier higher than what you're getting paid. He's like, that's how you always ensure that you're going to like keep growing, is like, if you're working hard enough and doing enough that it feels like they're getting more than what they're paying for, great.
Yep.
And so like, I think that a lot of people come to this podcast thing and they just kind of like, you know, if I'm being honest, if we had like 15 something podcasts, I'm just throwing I'm throwing random numbers out here just to do averages. But it's like if we had 15 podcasts, maybe 3 or 4 of them did actual prep work before like coming into a podcast. A lot of times it was just show up and like we'll fucking talk about what we did that week, which like no offense, unless you're like a fucking famous like name drop
established,
unless you're like a Bert Kreischer or a Tom Segura, like
if you're established.
We always talk about privately as this example. It's like everyone wants to do 2 bears 1 cave, where it's just you and your buddy talking, having fun, and everyone listens no matter what the fuck you talk about.
No shade, great podcast we listen every week.
That only works once you have an established following. As big, like someone like a Bert or a Tom could go start a new podcast tomorrow, automatically 20K listens, downloads, if not more.
We've studied this extensively.
Dan Soder could, like, you know what I mean? There's just certain, like, when you have enough of a following that you can have guaranteed. I could do no matter what, even 10K. If you're like, if I could start a podcast tomorrow and it's like instantly cool, I know that 10K of my fucking reach and followers are gonna fucking subscribe, download, all that shit. Yeah. Then you can just do the hangout pod. Until then, you need to have intention, like Are You Garbage, which got to how they were by having like a creative idea that like you have
a
like
consistent theme, something to follow.
When you go, Are You Garbage? We're gonna ask them a bunch of different questions to basically assess how garbage or classy of a person they are. Then you go, okay, we have to fill an hour. We could to start have 50 questions we cycle between, and even if we only get to like 20 per episode, it's going to feel quasi fresh. You'll have some reoccurring questions, and you can kind of establish this. It's just such, like, that's how you fucking podcast. And that's why Are You Garbage is killing it, because they fucking get, and now they could just fuck off and do just a hangout podcast. They don't do that because they're smart and they keep wanting to grow. But like, you know what I mean? It's like, it's such a simple podcasting idea, and just people want to just show up and then they go, why doesn't my podcast get bigger? Why? And it's like, cause you don't work, bitch.
Yeah. Brittany, bitch.
Yeah. Like Brittany said, you gotta fucking work.
Honestly.
You gotta fucking work,
and
dude.
Do it.
How bad do you want this shit?
Do it every single, what is it? Week? Day? What is it? How bad do you fucking want it?
And this is no shade at any particular person, but it's like, even when it's like people want to start to get cheap, it's like, hey man, there's people that live in their fucking car to like make their dream happen. It's like, really, like, how bad do you want it?
You and I moved to New York with a fucking
like nobody.
blowjob and a dream. Like, yeah, you know what I mean?
No fucking money.
No fucking money. None.
And then
$0
halfway through
dude.
being here, we were like, let's move again, because our first place sucked.
We were in a
room like basically as big as this.
9 by 12. I mean it.
That
dude.
we lived in and podcasted out of. That's how bad we wanted this
I know that I bring this up so often
we did
on this
detriment
podcast,
to our
but it's
relationship
traumatic, dude.
living there.
Oh my God, dude. There was a couple dead ass.
When you're angry at someone and the only getaway is leaving or going in the bathroom.
And you can't slam the door on either one of them because it's humid. So like it sticks to the floor. So you can't actually the buildup of anger, dude, that I felt when I could just close a door eventually. Oh man, it's like coming. It's like coming.
It's like coming. I'm coming day and night. Yeah, man. It's
you know, and I mean, I don't recommend this to anybody. This is psychotic.
How bad do you want it, man?
We both wanted it and respect. I mean, as much as you want to argue about respecting each other, I mean, we do respect what the other does.
Yeah, because we both
and
work
we're not
like
trying
fucking
to
crazy
change
people.
the other person, because like that would be changing the artist. And like
we both have an
this
understanding.
this is not normal, but that's fine, because not everyone. This makes me feel normal, but this wouldn't make everybody feel normal.
Yeah, dude.
You feel me?
I am not for fucking everyone.
Same. I mean, anyways, but so people need to have more, intention in their day-to-day and motion.
Go back to your fucking roots and stuff, dude. Like my mentor, when he wanted to first be an audio engineer, I mean, he was recording people using fucking broomsticks as goddamn mic stands and mattresses as fucking baffles pads to
how do you
in a basement and stuff like that.
How do you stay accountable?
I try to stay grateful for what I've done and what I've been able to do, and I mean, to be honest, like the two things I haven't really been accountable for that I'm like going to be accountable for this summer is like my podcast, which
should we do the segment?
Is that what you were asking?
This will be our segment.
I thought that's what you were asking.
Well, yeah, this will be our accountability segment. So sure, yeah.
So will be my podcast, Shit Talking Cunts with fucking Overtime Often, which shout out. God bless him. He's fucking come out here as much as he can afford to do like big stints of podcasts, and we've got some cool guests and stuff like that.
Definitely.
Man, the podcast just isn't the same if we're doing it over Zoom. Him and I are both like, I don't want to do this goofy shit, because him and I get distracted if we're over Zoom. Like fucking, him and I have to be in the same space where like if one or the other person does get distracted, we can fucking smack the other one in the face and be like, pay attention, dummy. So like that's gonna be cool. Like he's gonna be in the Costa Rica because he's down in Puerto Rico. So that's a hop, skip, and a jump.
Yeah.
So like we're gonna be doing a lot of shit down there. Fucking.
No, he said he was gonna come to Costa Rica for a little bit.
We're gonna have a fucking in-house.
He's bringing his own toilet paper.
We're gonna have an in-house band. Tito Puente is gonna bring his band. It's gonna be fucking awesome. But yeah, no, we're gonna start doing STC more regularly again, and like it's really a problem. And like I'll talk about it more when we kind of touched about it on this, but like with STC, we're like really like I'm gonna cut loose and talk shit. It's like, there's a reason we haven't been doing Shit Talking Cunts, and it's just like I can't talk shit and do a podcast where like I've got shit to talk and I just dance around it and don't talk it. But I also, because I'm a business owner, haven't been able to talk about that shit. Mm-hmm. So like there's been that.
It's been hard for you.
But also like, dude, I've been producing like 15 fucking podcasts at a time that aren't mine. So it's like by the time I get to my podcast, I'm like, motherfucker, I want to go play video games and everyone suck my dick. Like by the time it gets like my time, I'm like, I ain't got any energy for podcasts left.
Right, which just isn't right. And like it's fine. Like, people come to too much content because they're independent artists, and we are here to support the independent artists. So like it because we ourselves are that. So what I've learned is that, some people will drop off because that's what they feel like they need to do to grow their project. And like, dude, all the power to you, for real, because I'm grateful that I'm a part of the history of like a lot of these shows, and like I've learned so much, and like so much thanks to like all the shout outs that like everybody has given us, you know what I mean? And I'm grateful for like the people who we get to like continuously interact with all the time.
That is one of the things I'm appreciative of, is like people do recognize and like, shout us out a lot. Like, but yeah, like I said, it's just 'cause, I mean, we do good work, man. Like people come to us and they want to fucking like,
which is so icky for me to say, but I know it's true.
In theory, their dream, I understand it's corny or dumb, but it's like people come in theory with their dream and they want us to help us with that. And like, dude, I'm a very, like I said, man, I'm a very loyal person. If you come to me and you're like, I fuck with you, dog, I will go to war for you.
Yeah, facts.
But if you fuck me, then I'll go to war against you. Like, you know what I mean? I'm like, just be nice to me. I'll fucking be.
Try to treat others the way we want to be treated. That's
dog.
Sort of
I'm trying to build a fucking raiding party of fucking warriors that like everyone has each other.
Everybody needs to have warrior.
Everyone needs to have each other fucking back. I don't like the disrespect. Quit fucking with me, or I'll smack a motherfucker up, dude. That's just one of the fucking psycho voices that we do around this house, by the way. We have fucking like 4 or 5 different voices we do. That's the new one, by the way. We're starting with the new one.
You're going to be accountable for your podcast.
I'm going to be accountable for bringing STC back to fruition the way it's supposed to be done. And if for some reason...
Phoenix rising from the ashes.
And if for some reason, and that's not to say that this is the case, but if for some reason, like, STC just isn't slapping the way it should, Overtime and I will end up doing another podcast that will just be like a slightly different scope or something. But I don't see that necessarily being the case.
It's
but we'll
you
see.
and O till the end.
It's going to be me and O no matter what. That's my fucking dog, ride or die.
Facts.
The other thing is that I swear to fucking God, I swear it, this fucking album, everything will be at the very least, if not released, everything will be fucking recorded by the end of the summer, to be fair, because we're going to be away in fucking September too.
We will be away for multiple months in Costa Rica.
Before Christmas. Everything.
It's a holiday album.
Everything for the full-length Dane Sleep album will be fucking recorded. Everything's written, okay?
It's called Warrior Blood.
Everything. It was called fucking Warrior Blood. No, it's called Dowdy Fenris.
Which means?
Death to Fenris.
Which
Fenris
fucking means?
In Norse mythology, Fenris is the great wolf that is one of Loki's bastard children that he has, along with like the great serpent Jormungandr. But the wolf, when they have the great fucking battle foretold of the ages Ragnarok, and it's the gods versus the giants, Fenris is the wolf that swallows Odin. He grows big enough that the gods tried to fucking trap Fenris when he was younger because they were scared and they knew the
wolf.
Yeah, they knew the prophecy that he was going to swallow the gods and stuff. So they did this thing where they tried to basically like, you can't break through this net. You're not strong enough. And he kept breaking it. And then they were using it as a way to trap him. And then they finally had a net that was going to be strong enough to trap him. But he kind of was smart and he was like, nah, you guys are going to trap me. And then his keeper, Tyr, was like, no, we're not tricking you. And he's like, as a show of good faith, I'll put my hand in your mouth when we put this net on you so that if we do trick you, you can bite my hand off. And he sacrificed his hand for the greater good so that the wolf would get trapped. But eventually someone freed it. And then at the Ragnarok, he fucking was, hated the gods at this point and was Loki's son, who was a fucking traitorous cunt. And then he swallowed Odin. And then someone killed him.
So that's the name of the album.
Yeah, Death to Fenris, because he swallowed Odin, dude.
And
fuck that cunt.
And that's the theme of the album?
That album has an entire storyline starting from a bunch of warriors landing on the shores of battle, much like World War II Normandy, kind of like landing and going right into battle all the way up through the Ragnarok in terms of the Norse story.
Music.
Yeah, picture like fucking Lord of the Rings orchestra riding into battle, metal music.
Cool.
And
that's fun.
And then there's also a third album, which I'll probably do mostly myself, but it probably at least have my drummer and bass player help. That's going to be with like lower tunings.
I know he's
and
serious
shit.
because he's holding his balls while he talks about it.
I didn't mean to. That just kind of happened. But I already have a third album that's completely written too. That's going to be like the Norse creation story from the giants' perspective.
Maybe after
I like Norse
Costa
shit.
Rica,
I'm a Viking lame-o fuck. Sorry.
Maybe after Costa Rica, we'll just go straight to Iceland, and then you can work on that there because you can have like the inspiration.
I could study amongst the gods. Dude.
Yeah.
Harness their fucking power.
That sounds cool.
But yeah, that's really it. Like I want to get. I don't know if I really.
So Christmas time, we'll have you back on to fucking tell us about the new album that's being
this
released.
isn't going to be feasible by Christmas time, but I would like to get back on stage musically. I just don't know if it'll ever be. With Dane Sleep, I don't think it'll ever be in a touring sense because I just like. Man, it's so much.
There's a lot of factors with that one.
With the live
That
orchestrations.
would be cool if it happens.
I got to bring so much stuff that I read all these horror stories, man, of bands getting their shit broken into, and then it's like, it's like one of my guitars alone is like a fucking $3,000 guitar, and it's like if that got stolen, I would just quit music. Like You know,
We need
if someone was like, "Hey, come do fucking metal vocals for our band and come on tour," I'd fucking come. I would love that shit. So
Put that out in the universe.
if someone wants me to do death metal vocals, I can sing. I can do.
Where can they find like your demo or anything like that?
Go check out danesleaf.bandcamp.com. You can also check out. This is also on Spotify, I think too. But Dragonfire, I mixed that entire album and I did all the vocals and lyrics for that shit. Dude, I can do high screams, low screams. I'm a poor man's Will Ramos, but more death metal and shit, dude.
Right
Almost was a vocalist for the Heart Machine. Almost.
Whoa. Okay. My well, it depends on when this will come out. So my accountability thing is going to be a little bit in flux, but right now
Your art, dude.
My art is I'm going hard.
You were doing stuff today for it.
I was.
You are being accountable.
I was. I just don't know when this episode is going to come out. If it's going to come out after,
before. Technically, not Hollywood. This would be episode 32, but it could be an earlier episode.
Sure. But my coloring book should be out. So like, man, I put my heart and soul into that shit.
It's basically done. It's really
I
fucking
think
good.
my sights are on what I'm going to be. I know that I'm going to be doing some dropping of some new things, a collection, in October. And I'm going to be working on it while we're in Costa Rica. I'll right now I'm going to be pushing the coloring book. Also, depending on either way, whenever this is out, everybody go support The Tower. That was Christina Hutchinson's project that she's working on right now that she's doing some crowdfunding for. And the only way to see it is actually to get the link. So I'm just pushing all that shit. But one thing I did want to share in light of that episode and this one was I realized kind of recently that most of the most valuable people in my life have suggested books to me.
Yep.
You've suggested many books to me in our time together.
Which is funny because I typically fucking hate books. So it's like if it's a book that I like, it's like personally I think it must be really good. That's just me. I don't know. Fucking
and
call me a dickhead.
I've been definitely trying to do some more reading lately, and I wanted to share. I don't even know if we had started dating, but it was definitely around the time when we did. We began our saga. You suggested the book War of Art. Here it is. War of Art to me.
By the way, I just want to
by
note.
Stephen Pressfield. Sorry, go ahead.
I just want to note really quick. This is how you hold a fucking microphone, everyone.
Yeah.
You see people hold it down here, and they hold the fucking cable, and then they fucking ruin the cable, and then they're like, why is the mic cutting out? Or any other fucking dumb shit you could do. Look at, you see where they connect, hold just right above where it connects, and don't be a dickhead. Thank you, sorry. It was bothering me. I hate everyone who doesn't know how to hold a fucking microphone in the entertainment industry.
Irish O'Neill, everybody. But something that just really stuck out to me that when you first suggested this to me
that page
was it's page 5. So I mean, this is on audiobook. I highly suggest getting this book in tangible real life to read this.
Read it, you lazy fuck.
If you're even not, who cares if you're an artist? Like literally anybody. The War of Art, Break Through the Blocks and Win Your Inner Creative Battles by Stephen
Pressfield.
I mean, a true genius, really. And like page 5, which is really kind of like the start off of the whole
Greatest
thing.
hits of Resistance.
Yeah, Resistance, greatest hits, actually. And it kind of
This is why you're a lazy bitch.
Can I fucking talk? This is my podcast.
Sorry, I just get so fucking revved up on this book.
I know. I mean, it's kind of like 11 commandments. And you know what? Should I read them?
Absolutely.
Okay. The following is a list, and you know what? This is just a little flavor, and I think that what I would like to put out there is that everybody go read this. Either this or one of the other books that I have recommended on my I Can Read highlight on Instagram on _Moush.
You should read that book. You should read Vonda Carlo's book. And you should read, what's his fucking name's book? The one that I always go to it. It's like the ultimate book on accountability.
Turning Pro?
No. It's Jocko Willink's book.
extreme
ownership.
Yeah, I need
it's
to still read that
basically
one, but
like
yeah, I
don't
talk
be a
about it all the
fucking
time.
coward. When you fuck up, take ownership of that.
That's another thing that people are afraid of. But, I mean, part of that is resistance. So, like, let's start here. So, I just wanted to read this to everybody listening and hope that, like, you know, if you've read this book, please comment. I would love to talk about that with you guys. And if you haven't, or if you're going to, please also comment and tell me if, you know, you're going to start this, because I think it's incredibly valuable.
Or why you're a sex coward.
But anyways, Resistance Greatest Hits. The following is a list in no particular order of those activities that most commonly elicit resistance. 1.
Illicit.
I can't read.
Can I ask you an honest question before we go forward?
Yeah.
Was that have you always thought that was the word, or was that just you read stupid?
No, I read stupid because
Okay. I didn't know if that was a like
drinking and smoking.
like everyone has a word they can't like fuck with. Like mine is windmill. If I don't think about it, it always comes out windmeal.
No, I fucked that up because I wanted to read elixir.
Hers was myriad. I don't remember. We don't remember what the fuck she used to say. It was like,
we're really getting in the way of this list.
Sorry.
We're
exhibiting resistance. I'm showing you what resistance
what does that
is.
smell?
I just ripped the bomb.
Oh, okay.
Stop being paranoid. Now you're being resistful.
Okay, I'm gonna start this over.
I'm gonna put the mic down. That's how much I'm gonna not contribute it to resistance.
Cool. I'm going to start over. The following is a list, in no particular order, of those activities that most commonly elicit resistance. 1. The pursuit of any calling in writing, painting, music, film, dance, or any creative art, however marginal or unconventional. 2. The launching of any entrepreneurial venture or on enterprise for profit or otherwise. 3. Any diet or health regimen. 4. Any program of spiritual advancement. 5. Any activity whose aim is tighter abdominals.
There you go.
I read it right.
You got it.
6. Any
Abdominals.
6. Any course or program designed to overcome a unwholesome habit or addiction.
Yep.
Shout out to the fellow addicts. 7. Education of every kind.
Yep.
8. Any act of political, moral, or ethical courage, including the decision to change for the better some unworthy pattern of thought or conduct in ourselves. Moment of silence. 9. An undertaking of any enterprise or endeavor whose aim is to help others. Pause. 10. Any act that entails commitment of the heart, the decision to get married, to have a child, to weather a rocky patch in a relationship. It doesn't say this here, but there's something scribbled in: to live in a studio for 8 months and test your entire relationship to make sure that everything works out. 11.
Submitter.
So deeper. The taking of any principled stance in the face of adversity. Applicable to this podcast.
In other words, any act that rejects immediate gratification in favor of long-term growth, health, or integrity. Or expressed another way, any act that derives from our higher nature instead of our lower. Any of these will elicit resistance. So that's the thing, guys. I mean, like anything and everything.
The funny thing is that I was going to read it, but like,
you
he
know
could
what?
not
I just
help himself. He couldn't resist, if you will.
Couldn't, dude.
Took
I'm
over
gonna let
him.
you read the whole list. Come on, I gotta fucking jump.
Took over
I gotta
him.
contribute, okay?
Yeah.
I gotta fucking earn my keep on this podcast. And part of it was reading that last little fucking tidbit. And you got so greedy over it. You
Well,
just
I'm
couldn't
happy
share
you're
the
into
fucking
it.
limelight, dude. Of course, I love that book.
Yeah.
Because that book, every page just punches you in the gut and makes you feel like such a fucking lazy bitch.
People are uncomfortable with being uncomfortable, and that's how you grow.
Oh,
dude.
you can't do your work today. Are you too tired? Did you get too much pussy last night? Did you play too much video games? Did you fuck you? Do the work, you lazy cunt. That's what that book is. That's
Yeah.
why I love that book. And same with like extreme ownership. That whole book is a dude explaining like, dude, there's one story he talks about a CEO who just like, or not CEO, he's like a branch manager, and all he wanted to do was fucking blame every other person. And just bottom line, it was his fucking fault. and he got fired ultimately, but it's just like, hey man, it like, you know how you don't get fired, you know how you do a good job, you know how you grow, is you take ownership when you fuck up and you go, hey, I fucked this up, and here's my strategy and battle plan as to how we're not going to fuck this up going forward.
Yeah, and we all fuck up.
Everyone
we all
fucks up.
fuck up.
Is when you fuck up and you don't have a plan that you're an asshole.
Yeah. Or, you know, when you're supposed to come to every problem with 3 possible solutions.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Now, I want to round out this podcast with something positive.
Round it out, my babe.
Okay. I guess what do you want to leave the people with? Just anything particular? This is the last recording in the studio.
Loyalty and being honest are the most important things.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's certain exceptions to loyalty, right? If your best friend turns out to be a pedophile, yeah, break your loyalty, man. You don't owe that to that person. That's the only exception that's coming to my mind at this moment. But like, you know, short of tattooing loyalty across my chest, like, dude, it's such an important thing to like go to war for your friends and shit like that. And like, you know, in a society and in a time where that means less and less to people, it's like the more you can find your fucking crew. I mean, you think about it. Look at fucking, you know, Chris DiStefano. He's got Homeless Pimp. You look at fucking Are You Garbage? They've got Toby. You look at Rogan. He's got Jamie. It's like in Red Band. You find your people early on. You take care of each other. You grow together.
Mm-hmm.
Ba 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 ba.
You think about each other and each other's growth. You know what I mean? And I think that it's hard because like this business is a service to a certain degree, but like it's hard to be a service and also be an artist.
It's hard doing business with friends.
It's hard to do business with friends.
Like,
God, have I learned that?
I mean,
shit.
like,
God,
I really don't feel like I have a
house.
problem doing that. But like going forward, I just don't think that I can work with friends or produce like friend shit, because it's like the moment they start giving me attitude or just being a cunt about some shit, like when you've bent over backwards for them time and time again, and then they like snap a finger, will just start talking to you like an asshole. You're like,
nothing's sacred.
Yeah, you're just like, oh, okay, got it, sick, my mistake. I'm the asshole because I thought better. I don't know. I just people have kind of disappointed me a little bit in New York, but it's like, I don't mean to sound bitter. It's a good lesson. I mean, I you know, it's always good to learn that lesson, but it's just annoying. People frustrate me, man. Like I want to like people. I'm like, I feel like Patrice in that episode of Green Room where he's just like, you know, I'm trying to learn to like people again. Mm-hmm. Like I really do. Like I've tried, like that's the only like why I have any kind of like semblance of like kind of peace right now is it's like I do at my core, I like
you do
want to be nice, and I like
man,
well,
like
I have a
people
fucked
knew
up
how
sense
much
of
you thought
humor,
about
but,
other
like,
people. I mean, it's crazy. Like,
yeah, man, I cry about shit. I'm not like I'm not this fucking emotionless bastard. Like but it's just like when people wrong me or like fuck with me or fuck with my friends, man, I just have such a fucking problem with it.
Yeah.
And like you know, maybe I'm a fucking caveman. We don't live in a society where I can fucking pull out a sword and like some fucking anime or like epic tale shit be like, no, we're settling this fucking at dawn. Like I can't
mean,
do that.
goddamn, I can think of 2 occasions off the dome where I almost ran over someone for a friend. You know, who, thank God, I'm still one of my fucking homies. But like, I mean,
dude,
loyalty runs
I almost fought
deep.
a group of people because in a Kylo Ren outfit because they assaulted my friend. Like,
I used to drive an extra 45 minutes to get my eyebrow threaded from a certain lady. That's how fucking loyal I was when I fucking moved out of
I'm gonna be so bummed when we move. This fucking my boy Lilo over here. He's like the only person like he does such a bang up job on my beard.
I'm coming back
shit.
to get my hair cut here too, so you can come back with me and
Yeah,
get your beard cut. We'll
fair
do a little
enough. I'll
special
fucking come
little
back for
twist.
my boy. But
Yeah,
like,
but still, I mean, that's what I mean. Fucking loyalty, dude.
You find your people. And
I
it's
found
like
one person that cuts my hair right. You know what I mean? There it happens to be in New York.
And it's not even like even if fucking he did a bad job one time, I'm not like fuck him, he's done.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm
Right,
like,
right.
hey, baby's having a bad fucking day.
Right.
One time he cut my beard and like he didn't do anything wrong or everything, but like he was like, oh, I'm gonna be away the next 10 days. And I was like, oh, why? He's like, oh, I'm going back to like Italy, like visit family and stuff. And it's like I tipped him like an extra fucking $20. I'm like, he's traveling and stuff. I'm like, put a little fucking extra money in his chain. Like that's just
coffee on me, bro.
Yeah.
Flight's long, but I mean,
have a beer on the flight, dude.
Just like be nice to people. Think of other people. Like give yourself more. I think that's another thing I want to focus on more. Like I used to like to give more, and I want to what New York has taught me is that I need to focus on me so that I can be a giving person again.
Yeah, dude.
You know what I mean?
We're basically...
So that's what I'm going to focus on in Costa Rica when we're in our treehouse.
We're basically...
It's so hot in this treehouse that we're in right now that I have one last thing that I'm going to say, and then we're wrapping this up because goddamn... I'm sweating.
We're like One Piece when they're like
no, we're not doing anime
ahead.
references on this podcast. It's my podcast. It's my podcast. It's my podcast. Do you know how much this man fucking anime? Anyways, I'm sweating. God damn it. The last thing that I wanted to just call back to, I was gonna wear two, but I did wear a choker today in honor of.
I noticed that.
Did you?
I did notice that.
I specifically put it on.
I kept noticing. I'm like, what is this line on her neck? And the one time I looked over, I was like, nice. Is that the same OG one that you wore from Kings, or
you know what? The one from Kings, I don't know where. I know I wore two. This was one of them, but I cannot find the other one, and I think I know where it is. Hopefully, I'll find it in our move. But yeah, I wanted to call back to this a little bit. The OG first episode we ever did together. I wore a couple chokers, and it was like a 20-minute conversation. And that's
You're hot, and you were a blue belt in the mentality when I first met you, and I was like, cool. She understands it enough.
Yeah.
And then we gave her some training, and let me tell you, this lady, I'll you know what? I won't use bitch this time. This lady is a because it's your podcast. I'll show you that respect. This lady is a black belt in my bullshit, and let me tell you, it's truthfully like it's a fucking like war when it's a mental gymnastic war when we go at it of logic, because she understands, she applies the logic that and then I have to be better than her logic and her emotion and my logic. I gotta try and be ahead. It's fucking, let me tell you, she keeps me on my toes.
And he's high a lot, so I kind of get away with it.
You do get away with a lot sometimes. Sometimes.
It's like I'm not doing that mental gymnastics.
But let me tell you, I'm not producing 15 podcasts anymore, so that shit's over. Fucking cracking the whip.
Where besides Costa Rica can we find you? I know I've been asking you on the last couple episodes to share your plugs, and you've been very short, so I share where people can find you.
You throw it in last minute, and I'm like not expecting it and stuff.
Well, fucking expect it, bitch. We're at the plugs time.
Fine, well, we're at plugs, so yeah, it's Irish O'Neill to see all my stuff. Mm-hmm. You can also follow. I'm being retarded right now. I don't know if it's the STC.
It's the STC podcast.
It is the STC.
Yeah,
I couldn't remember if it was that or
it
STC, the podcast, because someone was an asshole. But yeah, at the STC podcast, we'll be coming back and be doing some shit. You can check my band Dainsleaf out at dainsleaf.bandcamp.com. You can see the first album /EP thing is there.
Well, the description or the link in this podcast.
Yeah, please check that out. Please also check out Dragonfire. That's just like this fun musician I met like years ago over like YouTube. We were gonna do like an Insafirum like cover with a bunch of people, and they all flaked out. He was like, well, dude, I like your vocals, so come do shit with me. And like he writes fucking like, again, like he sends me shit and he's like, do vocals for this, and I giggle my tits off listening to what he came up. I'm like, you wrote this, dude? What the fuck? And so like we've been doing awesome shit. I think his name Lean Vorhik. He's from like Amsterdam, so he's got like a super foreign name. And then there's this girl Courtney who does like the vocals and stuff too. It's an awesome, cool, fun little project. So check out Dragonfire. I think that's most of my shit.
Cool. Links in the description. Obviously check us out at toomuchcontent.live. That's our website and our Instagram. We'll be posting some shit. We have some things cooking. We have a couple projects together.
Too much fun's coming.
We've
got a bunch of episodes racked up for that, and we got a bunch of new ones we're going to do for that as well.
Yeah. So check all, or just, subscribe to Too Much Content on YouTube, because that's where you will see all of that, like, stuff that we do together and all the new projects that we're doing, as we shoot in Costa Rica and whatnot. And then, as always, you can find me at Ani_Moush on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. I'm posting more of our like travel type stuff. I'm trying to get back to that as well. Like, that's one of the other accountability things that I'm doing.
We're gonna be travel hoes.
Yeah, dude, get out of the house, ho. That's gonna be my thing for the.
It's
for
our
the
time,
summer.
ho.
Yeah, exactly. So look out for that. Look out for merch, which I'm really excited about. So yeah, check all that shit out. animoushmedia.com. I love you, hoes. Thank you for unbelievable experience in New York, and we're on to the next one. We're on to Cleveland, Cincinnati. That's what it is. We're on to Cincinnati.
Wait, hang on. Don't let people think we're going to Cincinnati.
No, it's a fucking it's a
just making
Bill
sure.
Belichick thing.
Whoa, easy. We're not going to Cincinnati.
No, I'll put the meme here.
You think having a 37-year-old...
We're on to Cincinnati. It's nothing about the past, nothing about the future. It's right now we're preparing for Cincinnati.
Okay, do you feel like the talent you have here is good?
We're getting ready for Cincinnati.